Okay, welcome in for the Week 3 recap and analysis. I am here with none other than first win of the season, I get knocked down, Chubba Wumba herself. How are you doing?
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Jesus Christ. Okay, how does it feel to get your one win of the season?
If I'm bringing down last year's champ, I will take it. It's pretty glorious.
All right. Well, for that one win, you did beat the Dark Knights 208 to 101. I believe that's the largest blowout of the season thus far.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Then Masochistic Monkeys did beat Boomer Busters, who are now 0-3. We'll get to that one in a second. Clunge Plunger beat Bear Down for Balls Deep. Steel Dynasty fell to Sea Chicken Chokers, who's now at 3-0. Flaming Moe's lost to Selenia quite handedly as well. Thoughts, reactions from this week's games?
I don't know. Everybody was looking pretty small from the mountain that I was sitting on, up in my 200-plus point group. It was pretty lonely up there, but I enjoyed watching the rest of you, suck, I guess.
All right, so Cass is sitting up there at 3-0. How long do you think before we actually see him take a loss this year?
I think if his luck doesn't run out, his lack of injuries will. I think, if anything, he will get hit by the injury bug.
Kind of like Deshaun, who's now sitting there at 0-3. It's a rough start for him. I know he's hoping to turn around and keeps talking about it, but he can't really rely on Patrick Mahomes this entire time. Will that injury bug turn around for him?
No, he'll stay down there. He's hosting. Sorry, Deshaun. No, not really, but...
Okay, so early predictions. Who do you think's hosting with him?
It's tough to say, just because there have been some flip-flops. But I mean, it's hard to see Eli anywhere other than the bottom. So I think if Eli doesn't get a 10th, he will gladly take 9th.
All right, what about Zach, who's sitting down there at 9th? That's kind of a shock for most of us.
Most of you, yes. I think he'll stay down there as well.
Okay, fair enough. So next we are going to jump on over to the league pick'em. As of now, Sean and Tanner are both sitting at 10. Zach is 8, Haley 7, and I'm down there at 5. The rest of you have not entered, but you still have a chance. Let's make sure Tanner doesn't win that shoe. And I believe Sean has won 2 years running now. Is that right?
We have to give him something.
Yeah, that is a little bit of credit. So he has that shoe. So now before we do jump into the next week matchups, we are going to talk a little bit about, as of earlier today, officially the NFL did say that the Titans and Steelers game was canceled for this week and moved to week 7. The Baltimore Ravens and Steelers game that was week 7 is now going to be week 8 in their bye. Who do you think that affects most and why?
I don't know. Sean keeps bitching like it affects his entire team, but I looked. It's only 2 people, bro. Calm down. You will survive.
And then you did mention you were looking at...
it benefits me, quite frankly, but...
Why is that?
Well, because Eli had some key players that are not eligible right this moment. He had Derrick Henry, and then... I don't remember who the other one was, but...
James Conner.
James Conner, yes. And now both of them are out, so I have a chance.
Dang, that is quite the reversal of fortune, because now the people that were going to play in week 8 and week 7 are now, obviously, that's a swap there, so you might get your second win of the season.
I will.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's use that just to kind of segue over into the matchups, and we'll go through that real quick and then hit up the power rankings. So, like we did say, Masochistic Monkeys is facing Chubba Wumba this week. Up until that official postponement, it did look pretty close, but now you're looking to squarely beat him. And then let's go to the Clunge Plungers versus the Dark Knights. I'm looking to take another L, but we're not going to talk about that one. Flaming Moe's looks to get another win over Boomer Busters, who should go 0-4.
Aww.
I think this is the second time that he's had an 0-3 record for sure. And the last time he did, he went 0-5 before he started to recover. So
I don't know what our season would look like without Deshaun bitching about something. So it's just giving him all the reasons.
So last week it was a little family drama in our house for the game. The other one this week is now it's going to be Sea Chicken Chokers versus Bear Down for Balls Deep. Cass looks unstoppable, and while Tanner's, I'd say, been lucky so far, he looks to take another loss to Cass.
I think Cass is definitely going to choke him out.
And the last matchup there is Steel Dynasty versus Solania. This one looks to be the closest.
Yeah.
Now, some of that is because, obviously, he lost the 2 Steelers you said that he had. Mm-hmm. But Arthur's, I mean, he's sitting at 2-1. He is second in the league. And if we're looking at total points scored, Arthur's actually doing really well. Cass is at 575 for the season. Arthur's at 536. The next closest is actually Hayden at 489. So over a 40-point gap there between them.
Yeah, I think Arthur's gonna. I think he'll kick Sean a little bit.
Yeah. Now to juxtapose that one to 10th for points scored, Boomer Busters is down there at 412. So quite a stark difference there, even between 3rd and 10th. But any other thoughts on those surprises that we should see?
You can just see my mountain getting bigger and bigger.
Your mountain?
Yeah, the mountain I'm climbing up to greatness, while the rest of you avalanche below.
If the mountain you're climbing is getting bigger, doesn't that mean you're going down the mountain? Because as the mountain is getting, that means you're like rolling down the mountain.
No, it's snowing really hard, so it's getting bigger. You can't make it up with me.
Okay. I did jump around too much, and we wanted to talk about waivers here real quick because there have been some moves. You probably didn't have any thoughts on anything crazy, but I did see you went out and got a defense there.
I did. It worked very well for me last week.
To stream a defense?
Yes, it did, actually.
Okay. Who did you have last week?
I had the Colts. They did very well. Streamlining my quarterbacks, that clearly did me some good. But it definitely worked out for the Colts. I did pick up Seattle this week, and I'm hemming and hawing some life decisions between them and the Colts, but I don't know. We'll see.
The other one I did want to point out is looks like Solania went out and picked up Philip Lindsay. He's still coming back from that injury, but he should be back soon. If he is able to suit up and split touches there with Melvin Gordon, that's a pretty good matchup against the Jets. Otherwise, it'll go New England, Miami, Kansas City. So a little bit of a rough stretch on some of those for him, but stacking his roster for future games, pretty good there. The other one I did see, and I just wanted to point it out just to kind of mock him a little bit, Deshaun went out, dropped N'Keal Harry to pick up Carlos Hyde, because at the time it seemed like a good idea. Chris Carson was injured, and they weren't sure what was happening. And then all of a sudden, I went out and picked up Carlos Hyde in another league, and so I got a notification. He's now questionable with his shoulder. He was limited in practice. I think Deshaun just might be cursed this year, and anybody that he picks up runs the risk of either
dying.
I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to put that out in the universe, but it is the year of the COVID, so I'm pretty sure the next person he picks up will probably get that.
If his players don't die, his fantasy football career will.
All right. So on that note now, unless you have anything else to add to waivers and the upcoming matchups, anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we are going to jump on over to the power rankings. Each week they are getting submitted, and so we've kind of been going through those on a week-to-week basis. Now, you have not heard these just yet, so it'll be just kind of a fresh take coming off of it. I do want to hear your opinion on them as I go through them, and we are going to start up at the top again at power ranking for League of Shadows Week 4. Last week was number 1. This week, number 1 again. Sea Chicken Chokers. This team looks unstoppable, incredibly balanced, and utterly dominant through the first 3 weeks. To nitpick a potential weakness, the wide receiver core could theoretically be improved, but that is a very minor critique. Perhaps a run-in this week with a surprisingly competent bear down for balls deep will put an end to the preeminence, and that seems unlikely.
Yes, it does.
So you think he's going to stay up there at power ranking spot number 1?
Yeah, only another week or so.
Okay, before he takes that loss.
Yes.
Okay. Previously number 3, now at number 2 is Solenia. And while it took an extremely poor performance from their competitors' entire roster, Solenia once again got it done this week and came out victorious. Carried by a great receiving core and a 2020 fantasy superstar quarterback Josh Allen, Solenia is brushing any talk of luck off his shoulders and just collecting W's. So for the time being, we all have to deal with the fact that the guy who does no draft preparation continually keeps kickers or defenses and currently has 2 New York running backs not named Saquon Barkley on his roster is kicking our asses. That's sadly very true.
It is pretty accurate.
And to think, at the beginning of the season projected, Tanner and Arthur, who are at 2 and 4 respectively, they were projected to go 9th and 10th. That tells you how off Yahoo's projections are. Unless they lose out for the rest of the season.
Well, yeah, right now it's looking pretty accurate. So maybe let's not dog them until it gives us a reason to.
All right, so now last week's number 5, this week's number 3 is Clunge Plunger. Although it was a close one, Clunge Plunger was the team to finally hand Bear Down for Balls Deep their first defeat. A very savvy waiver wire pickup in Mike Davis played a key role in that victory, showing that Clunge Plunger has a keen eye for available talent, which will greatly benefit them as the season progresses. It also shows the stupidity of the teams below Clunge Plunger in the waiver order for not picking up Mike Davis. I mean, who really wants the guaranteed production from the Christian McCaffrey role in a fast-paced offense?
Oh, shit, that's true.
Yeah, I will say I was actually really disappointed to have won my first 2 weeks taking as many injuries as I have because I've had no waiver wire priority. On the one hand, I see somebody like Deshaun going out and picking up all these people, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, they're going to get hurt. And I know that now, but there are people like Mike Davis and a couple of the people that Tanner's grabbed where I'm like, if I would have taken a loss, but it didn't happen. All right, last week's number 2, now number 4, is the Dark Knights. That's a little high, in my opinion.
Yes.
Injuries have really taken a toll on the Dark Knights, but another thing those injuries have done is shed a light on the lack of depth in the team with the 3 best running backs in the league. Losing to the worst team in the league is bad enough, but it's compounded by having to live under the same roof as said team, hopefully having to endure endless shame and ridicule. Sadly, the fact remains that Christian McCaffrey will be back soon, so the window is closing for the rest of the league to get their shots in on the defending champ.
I see your weakness.
All the injuries? Thanks. No, if Christian McCaffrey can get back, that's great, but the way it's been playing so far, and again, I'm going to call him out, freaking Dak Prescott keeps vulturing all my... God damn it. All right. Moving on, last week's number 6, now number 5, slowly creeping his way up in these rankings, is Bear Down for Balls Deep. This team is showing some real grit. Despite losing last week to Clunge Plunger, it was the smallest margin of victory on the week, and the matchup could have easily gone either way. The overall RB1, Alvin Kamara, and the reanimated core of Aaron Rodgers have been the driving force behind Bear Down for Balls Deep's early season success, something that will need to continue in order to maintain this level of prosperity. Maybe it's time to give this team the credit it deserves for shocking everyone in the league by winning 2 more games than anyone expected. Thoughts?
Nope, that's true. He won't stay up there long.
All right, last week's number 7, also inching forward to number 6, is Steel Dynasty. There's no shame in losing to the best, but there is shame in going on a losing streak. That could potentially happen to Steel Dynasty, having lost the last 2 games and now facing a tough matchup this week against Solenia. A likely multi-week injury to Chris Godwin only makes matters worse, and rest assured, we'll all hear about that being the sole reason for Steel Dynasty's downfall, straight from the owner's mouth. The reason for the downfall couldn't be the complete eschewing of the waiver wire for a team who desperately needs an injection of talent, could it? No, couldn't be. Nothing? Okay. Moving on. Last week's number 4, taking a drop, is Flaming Moe's to number 7. This team is a riddle wrapped in an enigma wrapped in a turd. We're all entitled to a bad week here and there, but with the talent of this roster, there's no excuse for the horrible output from this team. Is it possible Flaming Moe's is a team that's big on names but short on talent? It's kind of looking that way. Everyone finds pleasure in seeing a once powerful team take an unceremonious dive to the depths of the standings, so let's all enjoy watching this team struggle to stay alive and out of the toilet bowl.
Well, it does look like he's gonna flame out, so...
Previously number 10, this week's number 8 is Chubba Wumba. Congratulations on your first win. And what a win it was, knocking off the defending champ in convincing fashion. That is why Chubba Wumba moves up 2 spots in the power rankings. There's still a lot of work to be done, but this is an encouraging sign for a team that has had some early struggles. If this team can consistently get performances like the ones they got last week out of Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, and Nick Chubb, along with the return of George Kittle, Chubba Wumba could be going from the outhouse to the penthouse real soon.
If y'all remember correctly, I did start out slow last year and then ended up crawling, well, with a big jog up to the top. So I'm not surprised. My team just takes a while to warm up.
It did last year. What place did you get?
It did. I got 3rd, so suck it.
Okay.
Yeah, valid point.
You didn't beat me last year.
Yeah, okay. Beat you last week.
Okay. Good thing that was the championship.
You know, I think I beat you last year, too.
You did,
I think I always beat you.
In the regular season.
How good are you?
That's like the New England Patriots. Every year, they always end up losing to Miami for some reason. Nobody knows why, but then they always make it to the Super Bowl, and they're like, okay, we're the greatest team of all time. Just saying. Last week's number 9. This week's number 9 is also Masochistic Monkeys. Stayed the same. Another team who collected its first win and had a very good scoring output in the process. While Chubba Wumba was disposing of the defending champ, Masochistic Monkeys were beating up on a fellow bottom dweller in Boomer Busters. A win is a win, though, and it's hard to ignore the huge games from Dak Prescott, James Conner, and the breakout game we've all been expecting from Derrick Henry. Still, the outlook for this team isn't too bright, as they will inevitably fall back into their losing ways, attempting to keep their head above water in the toilet bowl. It's almost time to put this former, quote, horse out to pasture. It's funny. Oh, last week's number 8, now number 10, Boomer Busters. Even a 61-point performance from Patrick Mahomes wasn't enough to outduel the lowly Masochistic Monkeys. It doesn't help when your best receivers are out with injuries and your RB core is who's of, no, seriously, who the hell are these guys? Born from that comes a move of sheer desperation as Boomer Busters has activated its redshirt rookie after 1 game of relevance, becoming the first team to do so this season. It's going to take a lot more than that to get back to the familiar perch of not quite being good enough to win the championship. If Boomer Busters is going to get it going, this could be the week to do it, as they face off against Flaming Moe's in what can only be described as the Battle of Disappointments.
Yeah, he should change his name to just Busters. Get that boom out of here. He ain't got no boom on the field.
61 points from Mahomes, though. That's pretty intense.
Okay, that's his whole team. That's the same thing with him trying to trade or ask for your entire team just for Mahomes. Like, build, like, support your roster. Don't rely on one dude.
Yeah,
better people.
He always does play that waiver wire pretty well, though. So I imagine here in the next couple weeks, as more injuries set in, he's going to get some stuff happening that none of us have a chance for because he took those 3 losses.
Has it really been helping him this far, though? Has it?
Well, he hasn't been in last until now, has he?
He sure as shit ain't been first.
No, but who was in last?
That doesn't matter.
All right, fair enough. As we do look to wrap this one up, is there anything else you do want to trash talk or say or call anyone out? You always seem to have that mouth going. That's not a good phrase. Anything you want to say in closing?
No, I think we're going to see a shuffle here in the standings. And I think, while I don't see all of it completely flipping, I just see some changes. I don't think anyone should get too comfortable.
Okay. The other thing I did forget to mention, and I'm going to throw this one out there now, is it looks like only you and Zach are left in the survival pick. I was knocked out this week. Stupid Arizona. Are you going to defeat him in that?
Yes. I will take victory. I got to put that fire out. I got it. It's called Survivor, and I will survive.
All right. On that note, thank you so much for chatting with me. I'll have you on again at some point later in this year, but Until next time.
Bye, losers.
Let's go, King Katsuru. 大切なもの protect my vows. 僕が悪い so let's fighting. Let's fighting love. Let's fighting love.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how